It's Kenny, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Can you say something so we can see if it switches to you?
Just kidding.
I was gonna say. Ah, shit.
Joel's just going.
No, that's good. Kenny, can you try and turn your phone sideways, maybe?
Yep.
Yes, let's go like that if you're okay with that.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, so, okay, we got the two of you guys on the screen, and then we're recording our video separate on my phone, but you guys are looking at us from the, what kind of camera is that?
A webcam.
Just a webcam. So I think we're good to go. Yeah.
Hello, I am Ken from Revolution Engine, and I do the vocals.
And I'm Glenn. I'm the guitarist. And this is another edition of the Sit Down Podcast.
Talk on.
Hell yes. Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Sit Down Podcast. Before we get into it, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder to please hit the like and subscribe button, hit that bell notifications for any new uploads coming up. We do have a new program that started last week or a couple weeks ago on Thursdays. So we got content coming out Mondays and Thursdays for y'all.
Yep.
So please to be subscribing.
The first episode of that new podcast was great.
I thought so too, man. That was so much fun. But today we have the most outstanding band out of Alberta, Canada, coming to us, Revolution Engine. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for
welcome back.
Welcome back, you guys. So happy to get in touch with y'all. How you guys doing?
I'm doing
Good,
great.
how are you?
Yeah.
Yep, doing great.
Cool. Amazing.
Excited to launch this new song.
Freaking rights, man. I see you got the imagery for the new track out there behind you. That's freaking cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, to unpack the image, we'll have to talk a little bit more about the song. But yeah, this is a piece of the artwork that, you know, when you're streaming your music on all your favorite digital platforms, there's always that little tile image, square tile image that's off to the left, and that's what this is. So
right on.
Yeah.
So the last time we talked, I remember Ken being in a vehicle and he got very cold because it was wintertime. You remember that?
I may have been living in my truck at that time. Yeah.
What happened since then? Because I don't know. It was pretty quiet well, I shouldn't say pretty quiet. I haven't seen you a lot in my feeds. Let's put it that way.
Oh, well, we've had actually a pretty busy spring and summer. You know, this time of year, the fall is when festival booking season usually is. A lot of the summer festivals are looking for applications for their roster for the following summer around this time. And so I usually do all those applications, and I put in everything, and it was February, 2024, and wasn't hearing anything, didn't hear anything. And then all of a sudden some stuff started to come together. So we had played a show right at the beginning of 2024, January 5th, I think it was, at a venue called Chromazone, the Chromazone Showcase Room, which I will highly recommend to your other artists that are wanting to come to Edmonton and play maybe a smaller show, but a real banger of a setup. I'll unpack that in a minute. But we played that January 5th show right after the Christmas break, and they're set up really well for recording video. and audio. So during your performance, so we were trying to get a live audio, live video set of content for bolstering our applications for the future. A lot of festivals are looking for that now, live video, live audio. So what we got out of it was multi-angle video and live audio. So that was pretty cool. But then after that it's kind of quiet for a little while. But in June we played Decimate Metal Fest just outside of Edmonton. Then we opened for Finger 11 halfway through the month here within Edmonton at Century Casino. We didn't do anything in July, but then in August we played Loud as Hell Metal Festival in Drumheller, and then Rock the Track in Rimbey, which was a fairly big festival. We got to open the main stage ahead of Northern Pikes, Biff Naked, and the Headstones. So some pretty cool happenings. Not bonkers busy, but busier than no festivals at all. So I was quite pleased with that in the end.
Yeah. Is that what you're going for, mainly festivals, or do you do like smaller shows?
No, it was more just that we had been kind of struggling, I think, post-COVID to get some of those festivals going. Part of it is a bunch of festivals were struggling to get going again. And everyone wanted to play, and so yeah, I'm not quite sure. I mean, part of it is you can't get picked every time for every festival, and they won't necessarily have you back year after year after year, and this is, you just don't know. So it can be feast and famine. You just don't know how it's going to work out.
Yeah.
So, but
Right.
no, these were some great. I guess I'll put it this way. To me, festivals offer bands a great opportunity to be seen by fans that have never seen them before, like music fans that don't know that they're soon to become a fan, right?
Yep.
Like you guys probably experienced that with Moose Fest, but
Oh, 100%. We had I know for a fact that Room 333 and Green Wing now have new fans because the people that were coming out to Moose Fest for one band got to know the others and were like, holy shit,
Yeah.
these guys are great.
Same with 7 Mile Sun and Checkout Queens.
Radiant.
Yeah, pretty much all of them.
A lot of them. Yeah.
It's a lot of our. It's kind of weird. They're like, just to be honest about it, the local community here don't pay attention to this program that we do every week for the last 5 years. They don't.
And that's
but
fine. Whatever.
But some of those people are the ones that are coming to our festival because it's in their hometown, right?
Yeah.
So then they get blown away by like, holy shit, this band's amazing. I freaking love them. And it's like, yeah, we've had them on the show like 3 times in the last whatever, right? But so there is to confirm, yes, that does happen quite frequently with the festival.
Yeah, so to me, festival culture is great because you meet bands that you wouldn't have otherwise met necessarily. You end up with the chance to meet different tech crew people. You're in a different environment, so there's lots of growth and stretching, not just in your audience, but in your ability to work with different people too. It can get really comfortable to just keep playing the same venues within reasonable driving distance, right? Like, so I don't know. It can feel like you're just playing a show for the sake of a show if you just keep playing the same venues in your hometown.
Mhm.
And while it is fun to play, it starts to get to be a little bit like, okay, well, what's the draw? Like, what's the main reason for fans to come out to this other than, oh, we haven't played in a while? Well, that's not a really compelling reason, like, you gotta. So anyway, I don't know. When you're trying to grow, which of course we are, festivals are a good way of doing it. I think so.
Agreed.
And it also gives you a chance to meet other bands, so that if for example they have more of a draw than you would, for example, then and you make a relationship, then when they have a show, they think of you as an opener, for example, or the other way
Or
around.
the other way around. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's like a networking concept.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
you
sure.
can't undervalue the networking, and if you do, then you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yep.
The networking part is to me a really big deal. And I got a story from this summer. So we're playing this Rock the Track event I was talking about that was at Rimby. It's pretty big undertaking for a first year festival. Like it was, I don't know, probably 2,200 people over multiple days. But when we were playing, it was quite a few people by the end of our set, even though it was late afternoon. I think we played around, what was it, Ken, 5:30 or something? Somewhere in there.
No, we got on stage around 6.
Was it? Okay. Yeah. So anyway, it's late afternoon, right? Anyway, so I think we were done, and I heard that this guy that we know was there, and his name is Rob Bouvier. And years ago, he had a festival called Alberta's Own, and it was kind of a grassroots indie local bands festival. There was no big names kind of thing. It was all just Central Alberta music community and beyond. And it was at the Tail Creek Raceway in Alex, Alberta, which is just south and east of Red Deer, if I recall correctly, east-ish of Red Deer. Anyway, we ended up going out there to play that way back in 2017, and didn't do particularly well with ticket sales. It was supposed to be one of those things where you sell your tickets and that decides your spot, kind of a deal. And I was worried about it right out the gate, because when we talked to them early on, it was I'm like, well, this is a thing where someone's gonna have to come and camp to see us, and we just didn't do well with it. We were still newer as a band, so we didn't sell any tickets, not a single ticket. We showed up. We're supposed to be second on the day. It's supposed to be like 11 in the morning or something. We're supposed to play. We show up. I apologize that we didn't sell any tickets. He says, you know what? I really want you guys to have a good spot. I'm going to bump you up. Because I just love the message of your guys' band. I love the music. We ended up getting bumped ahead in the lineup like 3 or 4 times, I think. I can't remember. It was late afternoon by the time we finally got on stage. And we did really well. We played really well, connected with people really well, met a ton of other bands that we ended up playing with, met a bunch of industry people, photographers, videographers, production managers, and all of those people contributed to significant growth for us in Central Alberta. Now we kind of almost consider Central Alberta as more of home, almost than home, because we've got hundreds of fans in that area. So anyway, you just don't know what a festival can do, until you do it. If you just go to it with it, I'm gonna sound maybe a little cheesy. If you go to it with an open heart and an open mind, and try to be a good member of the scene and of the community, and connect, and be authentic about it, it makes a difference. And who doesn't want to work with a band that's like that? So.
Absolutely.
100%. Yep.
I will say this, and this is what I'm going to say is all Joel Gadet's opinion. So I sure hope you're going to take this the right way.
Yeah, whatever his opinion is, it's not mine.
But what I want to say is to the people who are paying attention, who are listening or watching, if you're unfamiliar with Revolution Engine, what really draws me specifically to them is I always probably will compare them to like a Canadian version of Rage Against the Machine, but with a positive message in the lyrics, you guys. What these guys stand for and represent in their music is like none other. It's just, and you really have to pay attention to what they're saying and performing to understand what I'm talking about. So please give them a spin,
Okay,
and you'll
I
know
do agree with you.
exactly. Yeah. Oh, hell yeah, man. I fucking used to rock Rage Against the Machine out all that. I still do when I'm driving in the car. Like if I'm in that mood and I'm cranking it up, if I'm not spinning Revolution Engine, it is Rage Against the Machine. But yeah, that would be the best way that I could just explain this to people who are unfamiliar with it.
It's our time. Join together now, no divide. Inside our hearts, a front line. We're coming fire, the rising tide. Be so free, they call it crime. We're gonna hang out, and the end of failure. For every tribe in every nation, every sexual orientation, for every faith and every fallen. I am the voice of the wilderness calling you. Shelter the poor, clothe the cold, heal the sick, starving. Against the six, there are no laws. Against the six, there are no laws. Against the six, there are no laws.
Ken, why don't you hit on some of the themes of some of the songs, like to give people an idea of the stuff that rolls around in Ken's brain that spits out his mouth?
Well, we kind of have two guideposts, at least for my writing. What Revolution Engine stands for is to educate and to unite. And so, like, all of our writing themes are like, where Rage Against the Machine would be political, we would be, for me, the way I look at it is that there's a war for the quality of our consciousness. And what I mean by that is that how we are able to interpret reality. So we're trying to get people to be inspired to make a change in their lives through the music and through the lyrics, but also educate them about what's happening in the world. So, like, say our latest song, "No System Better Than War," I think a lot of people get politically aligned, and instead of being unbiased about how they think about issues in the world, they filter it through their political views. So if their political side says this, then they just automatically agree with it. And I think that is dangerous, because the war is for the quality of our consciousness. And when you have a bias in your filter towards just where you don't question, you just, I align with this side of thinking, or I align with that side of thinking, it puts you in a dangerous space, because then you're being separated into groups rather than being a free thinking individual. So some of the lines in No System Better Than War, I talk about polarize the patriots, simultaneously set the Christians get the atheists. It's how the systems of fear in our world, and I can go into that a little bit deeper if you want. Systems of fear in our world are trying to get us to align with them so that they can accumulate more resources and power, rather than decentralize that type of thing and say, okay, what is my viewpoint of this? What do I really think about this? So it's educating people about that. And like No System Better Than War, the underlying message in that is that we are being split apart politically, and the powers that be are using different leverages, like the color of our skin, being vaccinated or unvaccinated, being pro LGBTQ or anti, when these issues are nuanced and they're individual, right? Where we need to look at them individually. For some people, maybe it's smarter to be vaccinated, and for some people, not, right? And that doesn't have to be a political point of view. It needs to be an individual point of view. What are your
A
values?
human point of view.
Yeah,
human
I
being.
love that. A
Yep.
human point of view, and
Yep.
it's totally okay to agree to disagree with something. You don't have to hate somebody because they have a difference of opinion than you.
Mhm.
Like, it's fine. It's just a completely different individual. But it's about being open-minded to hear their like their side of it, right? And being open to be able to hear them out and talk as human beings, and like that kind of thing, right? Like, it's the free will aspect of it, but it doesn't need to coincide with hatred or dislike or anything.
Yep.
Like, to keep it positive, and how we're all human beings, we're all in it together, we can all be one, it, like, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
I fucking love it, dude. I love the message.
Yeah, just respect each other. Like, there's a reason someone chooses A or B, and okay, as long as
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt anyone, then so what if they choose B while you choose A or whatever?
Yeah. Let's I'm really curious. So let's talk about the some more about the new song. Like, as you know, Mark and I aren't musicians. We don't go in the studio and do any recordings like that. So I personally, I'm not sure about Mark, but I'm really intrigued in that. I have witnessed it firsthand, how people go through their process, but I would really like to hear how you guys tackled this song specifically. Like, how long did it take? How did it come into inception? Like, where
was it recorded?
Yeah, what fueled it?
Yep.
Kind of thing.
Ken, you want me to go first on the sort of the process? So when we're writing, we're writing at home in our rehearsal space. We've had two main rehearsal spaces over the years. One's in my garage here in the city of Edmonton, and the more recently, over the last couple of years, we've been rehearsing out at our drummer Krishna's shop out at his acreage near Stony Plain. And so we do our writing out there. And in the past, we were also set up to record. So we could record whenever we wanted, like to be able to track practice and everything. And so for a long time, previous recordings, like if you look back to our EP, for example, we recorded most of that either in my garage or at Ryan, our bass player's dad's place. So, no big high budget studios or anything. And so, we had that ability to sort of do what some musicians call pre-production recording. It's like where you record it and hash out the ideas, you listen to it and go, oh, I don't like how that sounds together. It sounds good in the room, but when we hear it recorded, we don't like it, so we change it. Or we realize, we have an opportunity to make this better. So we'll hash out all that stuff. In this time, these last two songs that we did, I think we sent our other track, All Rise, to you guys as well. But we recorded No System Better Than War, I think almost 2 years ago now. And we recorded at Evergreen Sound in Calgary. We wanted to try something a bit different to stretch ourselves a bit. And so we went to record with Mark Troyer. He's the producer that we worked with. That's his studio. So he was producer, engineer, mixing engineer, and mastering engineer. So he wore all those hats. And so he's got a great kind of compact studio there in Calgary. And we tried to do what we would call live beds. So that's when everybody's in a room together except for vocals. So drums, bass, guitar and bass going direct into the soundboard so that you don't hear the noise of the amps. But the drums are live in the room and all mic'd up. And so we play all together to a click track so that with the aim of recording the drums specifically, like to get a really good quality keeper drum take. And then we'll overdub keeper parts for guitar and bass afterwards. And then finally, Ken will do guide vocals along the way so that we kind of keep the energy and the intensity of the feeling of the song while we're doing it. So it feels more like a performance, because that's kind of what we're known for, is our performance. So then we do those bass bed tracks, they're usually referred to as bed tracks, and then we do overdubs over top, so extra guitars, quite often a total of 4 takes or keeper takes for guitar, and at least 1, maybe 2 for bass, keeper bass tracks, and then layer on top whatever vocals that we're going to do. Can't remember if Ken, did you do any doubling on this one? I can't remember, but yeah, so some doubling and then some hype vocal type stuff. Yeah, and then after we did that, Ken, I can't remember, didn't you go back once or twice to work on tuning or tweaking the flow of your lyrics and stuff? I'll let you talk about that part.
Yeah, so these last 2 songs, All Rise and No System Better Than War, is the first time that Revolution Engine was in a real studio. Our first 2 albums were recorded in the garage, and I was literally screaming into a sleeping bag in Ryan's basement in a closet.
I think I remember you telling us that the last time you guys were on, actually. Yeah.
So it was a real treat for me. Like, I'm not the other guys in the band there, they have past projects and they've been in other studios and such. For me, it was new. And working with the producer was new, and that was fun for me. But I also at that time I was going through a really hard time in my life, both of those songs, and I was having a hard time getting in the right mental space. So I had to go back to the studio a couple of times to record and re-record and rewrite, and it was a bit of a process, especially for All Rise. I was in a really bad spot in that time, and I was struggling. So then, yeah, like the studio was neat, but I don't know if I liked it more than screaming into a sleeping bag. I really like working with Ryan in his basement. Ryan's our bass player. Was very freeing. Like I didn't feel any pressure. Where in the studio, I felt a ton of pressure, and I think that influenced the outcome.
Yeah, I think when you're working with the producer, the pressure goes up because you're paying, not only you're paying for studio space, but you're kind of paying for the producer. I mean, we had a pretty good deal in this setup, but still, it's different when you could do a million takes in the rehearsal space and no one's gonna care. It's just annoying to you if you keep screwing up, right?
Right.
But when you're paying in the studio, it gets to be a different thing. And so I've probably done it enough that it doesn't bother me as much, but I think when we were doing All Rise, because we redid the arrangement in the studio, so we had been working on that song for like, I don't know, 3 years maybe before we got to the studio, and we had the arrangement down pat, we thought. And then he said, I want to change it. I want to ditch the chord progression for the verse and have you guys do something totally different. And then there was all these other movements and things, and I was just programmed. Like it was,
Yeah.
So to undo the programming, to unlearn the song was such a brain breaker. I had a hard time.
Man, I could only imagine, because yeah, I mean, if you're performing that for 2-3 years prior to taking it into the studio, in your mind, like that's your baby. You've already got it shaped how you think it's performing well in front of crowds, whatnot.
Yeah.
And then going in there, and then that's a big thing to change of it, which then in return turns it into a completely different song than what you're used to for the last 3 years, right?
Well,
I totally get it.
Ken rewrote the vocals too, and like he was mentioning, it was a struggle, and he was trying to, I'll put it this way, when you're trying to level up, like that's really what this kind of project and going to work with Mark was about, was trying to level up and try some new things, and to maybe take some of the pressure off Ryan, because historically Ryan, our bass player, has always been two hats, both the engineer, mixing and mastering, as well as bass player. So that takes up a lot of time, his time, right? So we thought, okay, well, we can try a different approach, work with someone that will have some fresh perspective on what we're doing, see how that goes. And so I think in many ways that was very useful to us. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't easy. I mean, the studio was comfortable. Evergreen's a nice little studio, and Mark has some great quality gear. It's not like a $1 billion studio or something. I'm not saying that. I just mean in the sense of like he's really particular about good quality components and stuff, and I love that. So, but I think the proof is in the pudding. I really like how No System Better Than War turned out, for sure. It's got a great groove to it. The tones are cool. Someone was telling me today, I'm sending him a million messenger messages today to everybody that I can find in my Facebook contacts, and saying, hey, new song's out, check it out. And so one of the first people was saying, that's a musician, is like, oh, that sounds huge. And so that's always good. I love the word.
Hell yes.
Yep.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I will say also, technically you've got 2 versions of that, maybe more, but you also, because you sent it to us but you sent us like a quote unquote radio edit of it. But then I was like, no. I want the real thing here. Like I don't want.
We don't do radio edits.
We don't hold back here. I want the juice, man. Can we talk like, do you have any input on that? Like why when releasing, is the reason for having like radio edits is to just get more ears on it because some radio stations won't play it if there's an F-bomb in it or whatnot?
Oh,
is that like the only reason to do that, or is there any weight to that?
Yeah, I'm not going to say that we're super experienced in the radio tracking realm of things or anything, but in my experience so far, there's a couple of things that radio edit means. One is shorter, like make it shorter. Is it 3.5 minutes or less? And then 2, how many cusses is there? Either it's going to get bleeped or you can do it on purpose and put something that's going to be not trigger the parental advisory factors, whatever. So in this case, I think it's not like Ken's doing nothing but F-bombs,
right?
I can't, honestly, I don't even know how many words you changed.
I can. That could be a friggin', you guys could just do that. Just a whole bunch of cuss words in it. Call it, instead of twist from corn, call it like Mick Twist or something. I don't know. I'm just being silly.
You know there's no system better than one. If you listen to the narrative and believe it, it's a prison and imperative, you're aware, and I wish that you could see it. But the rhetoric screams from every fucking screen, and the powers that be twist the American dream, makes the message to bury the truth. The rhetoric spews, it's abuse, and it's all fake news. Skew the stats, you can rally the troops. Herd the sheep into groups, so confused and keeping them amused. Wall Street spreadsheet, your digits on repeat. Profits for the chosen few. Who cares since the blame is all the same? Fear and shame, system must contain. Disavow the truth, exalted the depraved. Ban any free man and make him behave. Head down now, find that early grave. Land of greed, brother, home the slave. One power, one name. Two towers, two planes, 3 shots, take aim. The superpower, Eisenhower, weapon of mass vaccine. Bow to the new world morality, now curated by police brutality. Westworld mortality, the new principality, writing the poor off, it's just some technicality. Polarized the patriots, simultaneously set the Christian against the atheist. Sus inside this radius, if you ain't in our circle, then I guess your life is extraneous. Yeah, the rich rage war, but it's a war that fight. Dancing on the string, pouring out your satellite. Said and done in life is something, a purple heart of bravery. It's over, son, your time has come, we salute your slavery. The real fighting, left versus right. The real fighting, white versus black. It ain't vaxxed versus unvaxxed. We divide the masses by classes for war. Between the rich and the poor. Between the rich and the poor. Between the rich and the poor. You know there's no system better than war. Between the rich and the poor. Between the rich and the poor. Between the rich and the poor. You know there's no system better than war. Medical militia, the new carnivore, common sense in the morgue, and the blood's on your door. Building empires with the bones of the poor. You know there's no system better than war. Medical militia, the new carnivore, common sense in the morgue, and the blood's on your door. Building empires with the bones of the poor. You know there's no system better than war.
anyway, the thought is to try to get more radio play this time around. I don't know. We'll see how we make out. We haven't done great on finding and applying for grants. So one of the things that I'm hoping to do is to do some grant applications this year and try to get some marketing support to do sort of a fresh push on the songs. But we're also just going to keep recording. So this whole idea of perfect sequence of release of songs seems to be going away. You know, I can say to some internet radio station that we've reached out to, you know, like, hey, we'd really like you to play this song. And then I listen in and they never play that song. They always play the song that we don't even play anymore. You know, I'm like, okay, well, whatever. If somebody finds us as a result of them playing a song we don't play anymore and they like the rest, then is it really such a bad thing?
Right. Actually, that's interesting you say that, because I noticed this week, the Saskatoon radio station, Rock 102, we're spinning a song from a band that is no longer, like they ended it almost 2 years ago, and Rock 102 is still spinning their music. And I'm just like, no, I'm not saying there's anything bad with it, but I'm just saying if they're highlighting,
thinking of,
it is
Funky Moose Radio is still playing it too.
No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but I'm just saying that if you're a local radio station and you're going to be supporting local music, why not support active musicians, not bands that are done and you're never ever going to see ever again? Like, what's the point of that? That's all I'm saying. I mean, the music is great. I'm a fan as well. I love it, but I'm just like, there's like a million other local bands there that are struggling and grinding to just have that one spin on their local radio station, and you're going to highlight something that's no longer in existence. Like, I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But that's just my personal opinion on that. But
yeah,
you have a lot of those.
The whole realm of radio is a little bit of a black box, honestly. There's people that know, but they generally cost a lot of money. So, and there's a set number of ones that can actually get you real radio play on terrestrial radio. There's a vanishingly small number of those radio trackers that actually have enough pull to get you on when you're unsigned. So,
yeah, and that sucks.
Yeah, there's I think it's so difficult, man. It's so freaking hard.
That's why I started Funky Moose Radio.
Yeah.
It's easy. Just send it over.
Mark's is pretty simple. Send them the freaking link and I'll upload it and away you go. No commercials, no nothing. Just let's go.
Yeah.
So you wrote the song 2 years ago. Did you also record it 2 years ago, or is that like an actual recent thing?
No, we had written it probably, I don't know, Ken, is it 3 years ago, 4 years ago? It took us a while to get it arranged. Remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah, so it was more than 2 years. We recorded it in late October 2022, right before we played for Edmonton. There's a station called 100.3 The Bear, and it's the big I don't want to say classic rock. It's not really classic rock, but it's the heavier rock station, mass market rock station. Anyway, and they have a big, huge Halloween blast every year called the Halloween Howler at River Cree Resort and Casino, and it's a couple thousand people. It's always sold out every year. Huge party. So we recorded it, I think, the weekend before we played that, and we'd been trying to get that since, well, I don't know, I worked probably 3-4 years to get that gig, but because of COVID, we were canceled twice, and finally we got to play the third time around, I think. Canceled because the whole thing was canceled. And then we got to open for Blackstone Cherry and Steel Panther at that show.
Oh,
nice.
Beauty. Love those guys.
Yeah, that was a killer show. We crushed it. There's a ton of great photos from that show on our social media if you look back 2 years. But and some clips too. I just reposted a clip on Instagram Reels, and Was it? Or maybe it was on TikTok. I can't remember. But anyway, one of those clips, there was a side stage clip that was really cool. But anyway, yeah, so 2 years ago is when we actually tracked it. And it took, part of the reason it took so long is because I'd wanted to try to have a video for it. And we just couldn't seem to get our ducks in a row to A, raise money for it, and B, find a way to get it done. Like, it's one thing to have budget. It's also, that's another realm it's its own separate art, right?
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Let's
So is there a video for it now?
There will be. Yeah, it's done. It's ready to go. It's going to get posted to YouTube. I originally was wanting to do it today, but then I realized we're going to miss out on a bit of an opportunity. So right now, Ryan just got back from the UK, I don't know, Tuesday, and Krishna's down in Arizona right now. So when we get back together, we'll meet and discuss and figure it out. But I kind of want to do a watch party, like a online watch party for the launch of it. So we'll see if we can figure that out. But it'll be going to YouTube for sure.
I think I might have, just to plant a seed, how a way you could do a watch party for it. Like if you're thinking of getting a bunch of people in one room and doing it all, but when you upload it to YouTube for the release, if you set it as premiere, then right, and then you'll have like a live chat going as the video is being premiered, and you can interact with people virtually as well as in house. And everybody.
I was kind of thinking the premiere mode, but anyway, we have to figure that out. If we delay the video by a few weeks, it kind of gives us some extra stretch out of it too. But
let's jump into the artwork that we see behind you there. Let's hear that story.
Yeah. So normally we use a local graphic artist, but in the interest of saving some pennies this time around, we did Fiverr. So I don't normally like to do that. I try to support graphic artists that we know well. This was not $5 though. It was it's more. When you start trying to do basically effectively a painting like this, it was more. But the end result, though, we were trying to convey this concept that Ken has in the vocal. Essentially, it's kind of, for me, it kind of boils down to follow the money. And when someone profits from other people dying, then you got to start scratching your head, because if you find that the narrative that's going on that gets you riled up makes you dehumanize the other person that you're interacting with, and it doesn't matter whether we're talking about a European conflict or a Middle Eastern conflict or whatever. If you find yourself dehumanizing someone that maybe has a differing perspective from you, that should be kind of one of your guideposts. That should be the warning bell. That should be the air raid siren that says, wait a minute.
The red flag.
Yep.
I know what that looks like. Remember what happens when we dehumanize? On the right, we have Hitler, who killed, over 10 million. What is it? I think it's roughly about that. 10 million Jewish people and other ethnicities in his ethnic cleansing. And then on the left, we have, Mao killing something like 60 million of his own Chinese people. And in Russia, tens of millions died just in the Ukrainian famine, never mind the rest of the Bolshevik Revolution. And so, when you allow yourself to place ideology above human worth, that should be your sign of concern. So it doesn't matter if it's over health choices or someone's sexual preferences or whatever it is. When you start to look at that person as less than, you should be gravely concerned, because that's the seed that leads to totalitarian thinking. that is the birth of totalitarian thinking, is dehumanization. So so to me, when we look at this artwork, it's unfortunately, if I move out of the way, this is gonna disappear. But oh, you can't quite see because it's square.
I
But
can throw it up here so the people at home can
yeah,
see.
if you want to throw it up in the edit, but at the bottom between these two guys is a briefcase full of money, and the money's spilling out. And you can interpret it whichever way you want, whether it's the general handing the businessman the money, or the businessman handing the general the money. There's probably a little bit of both in certain cases, but when the businessman's making money off of both sides, selling the weapons for them to kill each other, well, two men who know each other send young men who don't know each other to kill each other. That's essentially was sort of the idea behind this. It's, in case you didn't catch it, Elon Musk said something similar to that recently within the last year. Again, I don't care if you like or hate him. He had a moment of wisdom at least there. And so, the portrayal here is that follow the money, and if someone's using the dehumanizing language to get you to hate somebody else to lead so that they can make money.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. I totally get it.
That's not what we want to see.
I think he hit the nail on the head with that imagery, man. I think it looks freaking phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask if it was AI, but Fiverr works.
No, it was. I tried AI a little bit just because I wanted to play around. I'm a tech guy. I have worked in web and marketing and programming and IT for, I don't know, 20 years. But I was playing around with some of the AI tools, but the businessman kept having six fingers.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, 6 fingers. Yeah.
AI is not so good at hands so far.
It's like,
No.
was he from Princess Bride or what?
Yeah.
The six-fingered man.
But the concept was similar. The businessman had red eyes and his hands were soaked in blood, which was pretty cool. But we didn't end up giving this man blood-soaked hands. But
heck yeah. Kenny, I want to ask you about the lyrics of your music. I'm presuming that do you write 100% of the lyrics, or is it a collaborative effort between the group?
I write all of the lyrics. There might be a few tweaks here and there, but yeah.
You mentioned earlier, like with those other the other songs, how you mentioned how you were in a bad place and it was just a tough time in your life at that time when those were created. My question for you is, when performing those songs, like the amount of energy and like the how powerful the message is, that the emotion, the power, all of it combined that goes into it. It's maybe a two-part question. One is, how draining is that to you in that writing process of creating those? And then I guess the second part is, if you've written that song, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, as an example, and you're performing it tonight, how much of that raw emotion and everything is contained within those 3 minutes or whatnot of the performance, or does it like deplete as time goes on?
Is it like it's a song now and I distance myself from it, kind of?
No. So one thing I've been learning, like I believe that my purpose is on earth is to evolve, and that entails for me what I call energy. And so when I'm performing, like, there's nothing draining about it to me. It's actually life-giving. And it doesn't matter how old the song is. I get right into the emotion of it because that's where the energy is, right? there are a lot of good singers out there, and I'm not one of them. I'm definitely not one of them. There's a lot of good rappers out there, and I'm not a rapper. I don't know what I am. I'm trying to convey a message, and I happen to do it with music. So when I'm stepping into a performance, for me, I'm not thinking about how good I am or how bad I am. I'm thinking about the emotion of that song. Because to me, a real artist is somebody who can connect the emotion to the lyrics, to the song, and that allows the audience to connect to you, right? Like I realize like I'm not singing beautiful songs or even sad or happy songs. Most of the songs that we write are to bring awareness to things and to encourage people to make a change. So I literally, performing for me is life, because I get to step into each song and express it in that moment to the people that are there. And when I'm performing, like one of the things that I've learned over time is it it matters what I'm saying, but it matters more how I'm emoting what I'm saying, right? And when I'm doing that, I'm literally looking at the audience members directly in the eye. And I'm looking for the ones that are connecting to the message and connecting to the emotion. And when you're doing that, you can see them and they can see you. All of a sudden they feel like, oh my God, this guy's yelling at me. But he's yelling with this purposeful emotion to bring awareness. So yeah, it's not draining. I don't ever feel like, oh, I don't want to do this. Every time I get on stage, I'm this is life. You know what I mean? Like I'm here to do my purpose. So yeah, I feel like it's each song is born anew every time I perform it. We have one song called Burn Unit, and I wrote it right after my mom had passed, and I had just gotten divorced, and I had just been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. I was severely depressed. My company, because of COVID, tanked, and not because of COVID, but that was like the final nail in the coffin.
Right.
And it doesn't fit our set in any way because it's a very emotionally and sad song, but it's also a very hopeful song. It's called Burn Unit, and it's about finding a place to be healed, right, in the midst of all of the stuff that's happening. And it's a really old song for us. We've been performing it for years, but there are times, like even during practice, I can't hold my shit together. Like we're singing the song, and I'm bawling my eyes out because I'm reconnecting with that process. I'm reconnecting with those moments in my life that were so difficult, right? So like, and then you get songs like No System Better Than War or All Rise, where like we're engaging people to like wake the fuck up, you know, like
Yeah.
this is happening around you. And they're aggressive, but I am doing what I can to reach inside of people and pull them out of themselves to go, hey, I need to reevaluate myself and reevaluate my worldview, and I need to think about things, and I need to take this reality a little bit more seriously in the sense that maybe there's something I can do that's special to me that I can give to the world, right? That's what I'm doing when I'm on stage. This is something that I feel is special to me, and I'm giving it to you, right? So for me, like when we played Rock the Track, Biff Naked, I was babysitting her dog while she was on stage, and they got off stage and they came back to the trailer, and she asked actually her managers, like, we're gonna have to take you guys on tour with us. And I was like, what? And everybody's like, is that the highlight of your weekend? And I was like, no, actually, after our set, I was walking back to our trailer, and a family with 3 young teenagers stopped me to talk. And I got to spend about 20 minutes just talking to those teenagers about how powerful they really are, and how this world that we live in is basically systems of fear. and they're going to try and tell you who you are, right? We're essentially born into a reality that we're not made for, right? I believe that we as humans are beings of made for perfect love, but we live in a environment of not perfect love. And that informs us before we're self-aware of who we are. And then all of a sudden we become self-aware and we adopt that identity. But that identity isn't who we are, right? We are much greater than that. Our DNA contains all sorts of secrets and all sorts of abilities that are inherent to us. But right away, as babies and children, we are taught out of those things. We are taught what we cannot do, right? And so for me, like, it's super empowering to be able to have those moments with people where they're like, you inspired me to make a difference. You inspired me to think about things different. We just did I'm in another project. It's actually a Rage Against the Machine tribute band.
Hell yeah, dude.
And I got on stage and I was just, hanging out, and this other guy came up to me and he was like, thank you so much. He's like, he was just, gushing a little bit. And he's like, you've inspired me to start rapping again. He's like, do you mind if I freestyle for you I have a couple songs or whatever? And the dude was quite literally a million times better at rapping than I am. And then he finished and he was like, you inspired me tonight to keep going, to keep doing this. He's like, you on stage, he's like, you had this energy and now I have that energy again. And I'm like, that is what I'm here for, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So many of us are just going through life and we're, letting our environment inform us of who we are. It's shaping us. And truly, we should be shaping our environment. It should be the other way around, right? So,
Dude, oh man,
I like this guy.
Dude, I'm in 100% agreement with you. I think everything you just said is on point, man. I freaking love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Heck yeah. We are running out low on time here, gentlemen, so we will have to let you go very soon.
We will have to get you back.
Dude, I can't wait to fucking be in your guys' presence again. I think it's been a couple years. I posted a picture today. I think it was I want to say 2 years ago, maybe longer than that, when I had the opportunity to see you guys perform in Edmonton. And dude, it was
how did that go?
Crazy wild night. It was correct me if I'm wrong with how this went down. It was something to do with you guys with Revolution Engine and the Radiant. You guys were both on the same bill at a venue in Edmonton, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you told Michaela about us or something. I can't remember how it started, but she contacted me and said, hey, we need somebody to open. It's at the aviary and it's not far away. I can't remember. I think it was in March, wasn't it?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was in.
I actually, so I went there with them. They dragged me along with them, which was an awesome time.
No. You invited yourself to come.
Well, it was maybe a mix of both, but I actually brought a camera with me on that trip and was trying to document trying is key word here, trying to document the trip there and back and however many years ago that was. And the camera that I was using filed everything into a bunch of little 20-30 second files. And I've got 6 hours of footage there. And I think I uncracked 3 or 4 of those. And I was just like, this is going to take me a freaking month to open all these files. And I kind of sloughed it off, put it away, and never came back to it. I still have all that footage. I just never, what's the word I'm looking for?
Put it together.
No, when you not encrypt it, when you decode it to be able to view it. Yeah. So I have a shit ton of footage from that night that I just never touched or never. I don't think I have footage of you guys. It was mainly the drive there and the drive back and at the Airbnb and stuff like that. Yeah, I got a awesome video of Paul. That was actually Paul.
Oh, okay.
Halfway there, we stopped because bathroom break, and Paul was pissing on the train tracks, and I was videotaping him, and he's like, "Don't you ever post that?" I was like, "I won't, buddy. I promise you." But so there's my little shout out to the Radiant there. We freaking love you guys. And yes, Michaela, I still have that footage. My apologies.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere. I'll figure
Yeah, we had a
something.
good time playing with them. They're a great band. It would be awesome to. We still have. I grew up in southern Saskatchewan near Swift Current, and we still have never played with this band in Saskatchewan yet, which is kind of a crime. But
It is.
I keep kind of starting to work on it, and then I don't get anywhere. But part of it is we've been trying to, one of the other struggles for bands is establishing your value. Like there's this concept called hard and soft ticket value, for example. Like hard ticket value is how many people can you put in seats times $10. That's your hard ticket value. So in Saskatoon, there's a very good chance that our hard ticket value might be $100. 10 people times $10.
Right.
That doesn't pay for gas. So then you go, okay, well, how badly do we want to play Saskatoon?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I still would love to come and play Saskatoon and Regina.
Prince Albert.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, Mark, is there any place to play in Prince Albert?
Oh yeah. There's a venue called the Rock Trout, which is a great old building. It has tunnels under it and whatever. That's kind of it's kind of became our go-to almost.
Yeah.
And then there's also the Spice Trail, who does a lot of punk shows.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
saw some pictures on social media of Spice Trail, but
yeah.
It's interesting because it's like a little, is it Vietnamese or Asian restaurant?
Indian.
It's an Indian restaurant, forgive
Yep.
me. So yeah, it's an Indian restaurant, but like at the bar side, they've got the stage, and that's where they have all their live music. So
And it's L-shaped.
yeah,
which-
it's a real Spice Trail is a very interesting venue.
Yeah.
But it's also great. Great one.
But it's a lot smaller than
Yeah, it's probably the size of this room.
Yeah.
So it might be a little too small for you
Yeah,
guys.
Rock Trout is what is it, 125?
Something like that.
Something like that. So small venue.
yes,
But
if we could come and put together a bill where there's 3 bands, we can
Yeah.
play for an hour and melt faces for an hour. But
Yeah.
ideally, when we play out of town, we want to play second if we can out of 3. I don't
Yeah.
want to play last because then all the locals go, oh, I got to work tomorrow, and then they go home, and then you're like, well, why did I come here then? Because I'm
Yeah.
playing for the bartender.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, we
I'll
prefer
play.
to play. What's that? Not that we don't love the bartender.
Oh, no, I said I'll play for the. I don't care.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Tip
I
your
just-
waitress, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still not. It's not that, again, the human value thing. It's not like the bartender's not a value or something. It's more just like you're going, okay, well, we're trying to meet people and convey the message that Ken wants to convey, and we want to convey as the rest of the band. So, hopefully get to meet some bands and meet some music fans and
Mhm.
turn them into Revolution Engine fans.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
My dude, you have my word. If I have anything to do with it, I'm going to help you guys get some shows booked here in Saskatchewan. I know I want
That'd
you
be
guys
awesome.
out here a lot more, man.
That'd be great.
Mark my words. Mark my words
Black
on that.
Cat or Capital or whatever.
Yeah, freaking there's lots of different venues in Saskatoon. But we'll talk about all
Yeah,
that.
did you know there's a new venue in Saskatoon?
Maybe.
It's called the Green Room. They open in August.
I think I saw something of it, but
and
I didn't
it's right next door to the Coors Event Center. Same owners, but it's a smaller venue. So instead of
doing the busy stage or something.
Yep, even the Visi stage is big for some artists. So they opened up like a music club next door.
That could be a good one for you guys. The Visi stage at Coors Event. I think you guys could have a hell of a good time there.
Yep.
I think that would be a good fit for you guys, in my opinion.
Okay, well, we'll talk more, and you'll connect us with some other bands that we can put a melter together. And
Heck yes.
Mhm.
All right, gentlemen. So before I let you go here, if you would be so kind as to just let the audience know, like, where can we try and help steer people? Where can they get your merch? Where can they stream your music? Where can they give you a follow? That kind of thing.
yeah, the easiest way to find all things Revolution Engine is to go to our link tree, which is, if you're familiar with Linktree, it's https://linktr.ee/Revolution Engine. And you'll be able to go to Instagram if you want Instagram, Facebook if you want Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, including our website. We have a website and a web store. So all of that you should be able to find there.
Excellent.
That's actually a tip for that's a tip for all musicians.
Get a
Create
link tree.
and we'll just link to that.
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
Ken,
We
you were saying?
I was just gonna say we have, for a local band, we have so much merch. We have 6 different types of hoodies, 10 different
Please
t-shirts.
buy some merch.
I will. I will tonight. Tonight. I will.
All right.
Hell yes. As soon as I get home, you'll see an order come through there. You'll know that's me.
All right, sounds good.
I freaking love it. I love you guys. I love what you represent. I love what you're doing. I want you to know, as I've already told you the last time you were on, you are part of this herd, this family that Mark and I have curated over the course of 5 years. And any flipping time you guys want to just hang out or do a podcast or anything, man, you guys are our friends, man. So just don't be
Love
shy.
it.
Don't keep
Love
us in
it.
the dark.
Thanks for squeezing us in. Appreciate
Hell yeah.
it.
No problem.
Thank you for being commentable. It was awesome. I think that's a word.
Sure.
Isn't
We'll
it?
go with
We'll
it.
go with
It
it.
is now.
I like it.
Hell yeah, gentlemen.
Awesome.
Thank you guys
Thanks,
at
guys.
home, and we'll see you at home next week.
So I lay me down to sleep, and I scream my soul won't keep, and I go swimming in the flames, 'cause my life's in ashes again. And I cry out, please, Father, save me. But he said, son, not this time. No, not this time. So I try to walk, but I'm forced to crawl, because I've cut myself at the knees again. And he did not stop me from stumbling, no. He did not hold me from the fall. Ripped right open to reveal these scars, and somehow I'm beautiful. I'll never be the same. I'll never be the same again. I'll never be the same. Never be the same. Am I crawling from the grave? No, I don't know. Am I still just a slave? Yeah, I think so. How I long for your embrace, this child falling from grace. So headlong into the fire I'll swim, and on that smoke I'll choke. But there is beauty in the flames, and there is mercy in the cause. Never be the same. Never be the same again. Never be the same. Never be the same. Never be the same. realized, though I walked with him not, he was walking with me through these embers of loss. And when the flames rose higher, it was him. It was Christ.